the Prison City Podcast. When the bars go up, you're officially locked in.
Welcome to the Prison City Podcast Christmas Special Edition here tonight, folks. A lot of fun stuff we got here for our Christmas show. This is our first official Christmas show here at the Prison City Podcast. I got some fucking eggnog with me tonight. I got some candy, some fucking candy bars and shit. I'm jacked up for Christmas here in 3 days from now, and it's going to be a fucking blast here. I'm actually leaving for Pittsburgh right now as we speak. I'm actually heading on a flight right after this podcast is over. We're going to hit the Missoula airport up and go on a flight first thing tomorrow morning, and it's going to be a fucking blast. And we're going to talk Christmas stuff this year. We're going to do a little NFL wrap up from this weekend, check some podcast numbers. And there's actually a controversy that just hit recently about a little bit over a week ago. There's a controversy just hit here, and we're going to talk about that. So first up the bat, we'll go right to outside of Omaha, Nebraska, somewhere in Nebraska, Mahomes.
Yeah, absolutely excited, man. My favorite time of year. I get to be traveling. I'll be back in Montana here. On the 23rd. So, tomorrow. Yeah. So I'll be there. Time flies. So I'm excited. It's not as long of a break as I'm used to having, but we'll be there for a few days to kind of time with one family, time with another family. So pretty pumped about that. One thing I was thinking from last week's episode is we should make like a drinking game for people. So if you're listening to this episode, the drinking game is go back to the last episode. And anytime you hear construction going on when Kelly's talking, take a drink. And you're going to get absolutely shit-faced hammered.
So, yeah, you're flying from Nebraska to Montana. I'm flying from Montana to Pittsburgh. Hopefully our planes meet midair and crash. We both die.
I got to tell you, I don't actually hope for that, as crazy as it seems.
And we drink some more eggnog here.
Eggnog.
All right. God, that tastes good. I fucking love eggnog. Don't like it?
Yeah. I feel like people either love or hate eggnog.
I fucking love it. It looks a lot like you know how when you have sex and something comes out eventually at the end? Kind of looks like that in a bottle.
I have nothing to add on to that.
Okay, let's move on to our next guest on the show, or a regular time person here. Matt Cutler there, the Christmas Story poster. How you doing, Matt?
Good. Man, for a minute there, I thought you and Mahoney were just going to go back and forth on the whole eggnog. Get a little noggy over there. Jesus criminies, man. He's, for you listeners out there, he's just chugging at eggnog.
Oh, it's good.
Like it's the last thing he had on earth. Yeah, Pat, we'll be seeing you out here in Pittsburgh here shortly, my friend. About a week or so. Got to get through all the Christmas BS. Before that, then it's vacation time. Looking forward to it. So party on, Wayne.
Yeah, shitload of fun. We're actually going to go to the Browns game a week and a half now. We're going to go to Browns Steelers on Monday Night Football, and that's going to be a lot of fun. Kelly is going to meet us out there too for that game. What do you have to say tonight? You drinking eggnog too, or is that something else I see?
No, but I like how you compare eggnog to a man's cum, and then you just start chugging the bottle like it's going out of style. Yeah, last week we had drills, and I don't advise you to take Mahoney's advice because, you will probably die of alcohol poisoning if you listen to that and actually do it. And I can't even make this shit up right now. They are doing our walks with like a giant tractor outside, and it's 9:00 at night. So I can't even make this shit up. So you might hear a little bit of that.
Seriously, before the show started, I was talking to Mahomes, and they were literally just outside my office here, just like going back and forth.
Yeah. So I was like, really? I mean, I'm glad they're doing it, but it's like 9:00 at night. Never seen that before. So this should be fun.
Yeah. So to start things off tonight, hopefully that cleaner actually shows up in Nebraska too magically here in a few minutes.
I don't know unless somehow our taping plan gets leaked and people are just fucking with us. But I think that should be all right.
A guy's knocking on your door. Hey, can I do your walks? Should I do your walks for you? Just super loud. So tonight I kind of wanted to start out. We had a wild weekend in the NFL this past weekend. Just a crazy set of games here. Talking about the Steelers here. And we're going to see the game on January 3rd against the Browns on Monday Night Football in Pittsburgh. And this last week was a big game for the Steelers, and they came up with a very close win over the Tennessee Titans this weekend to keep their playoff hopes alive. And I was just jacked up about that. But I got even better news for you guys. So I'm in the Survivor League with my dad, and there's three of us left coming in this last weekend, and we took the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Sunday Night Football against the Saints, fucking crushed them. And the other two people took to the Arizona Cardinals, who just got upset this weekend. So we just won $3,000. Now, who did the
I didn't
Cardinals?
realize it was that much money.
Yeah, $3,000. Now, who did the Cardinals lose to, Matt?
Detroit Lions.
Yeah, it was a fucking close game, and they were coming off a short week heading to Detroit. I thought about that pick. I was like, short week. Detroit won against the Vikings, so they got that off their chest, and they're an on and off team. So Detroit just played great and knocked off Arizona. Now we won $3,000.
Well, what I brought up before the game too, I said Kyler Murray hasn't won a game against Detroit. Let's make that 0-2-1 actually.
That's fucking
Lions
crazy.
have his number.
Yeah, Lions have his number for sure.
Yeah, that is crazy. And if you guys go back to my Facebook post from last week on December 14th, I predicted that the Lions were going to beat the Cardinals, and so quantum jumping part 2. Here we go.
I know. Here we go.
Right around what was that? About 10:30 at night Montana time. So go back and look at that one because I was fucking right.
Now
That's wild.
Now, out there in Nebraska, you're a Falcons fan. How did your Falcons do this past weekend?
Well, it was kind of, and it's probably only Falcons fans who really care, but we had a really hard fought game against the 49ers, and I have a lot of ill will towards Kyle Shanahan because he doesn't know how to just run the ball when you're up by 25 points in the second half of a Super Bowl. And so a lot of people were like, dude, he can't be that bad. But then everyone remembers how much he choked the game away with his play calling against the Chiefs. So turns out it actually is him. So it was really nice to have a really good 3 quarters. And then, we lost by 10 at the end, but man, we played well. We played well.
Good to see your spirits are still high though.
Yeah. I mean, what was nice to see is Matt Ryan had a really nice game. He's kind of been up and down trying to learn this new offense. And the fact that this was the craziest stat, I think, in the NFL this year. He, on 25% of his dropbacks, he's been hit this year. That's how shitty the offensive line is.
That's fucking crazy.
1 in every 4 snaps, he's getting hit to the ground. That is nuts.
Yeah. So I caught part of your game, when they played, and he got hit a shit ton, but I'm surprised they only lost by 10. I mean, I made it a game, so.
Yeah. You know what? The biggest news I think we all talking about this NFL weekend is how about Aaron Rodgers tearing his ACL in the first quarter? Huh?
Yeah, I know.
It's crazy.
And Jordan Love wasn't available because he was still, I think, in COVID protocol. So Kurt Bentker had to go out there. You guys might not know this, but Kurt Bentker used to be the 3rd string quarterback for my Atlanta Falcons.
So did he?
Wow.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
He did not have
Jesus Christ.
He did not have the greatest outing on Sunday. I'll tell you that much. So I hope he was better for you guys.
Well, he was the 3rd stringer, so he never had to play. But I'll tell you what, in preseason games 2 and 4, he was lights out for us.
So Mahoney, did you have this past Sunday then? Did you have your normal Sunday tradition? Go to church, watch the Falcons, drink beer all day?
That's a Sunday like no other, I tell you. I did sneak in actually, so I didn't. Well, that's not fair. I have my Rainier. If you're looking to sponsor us, Rainier, I drink you all the time. So I had some Rainier, and then I slowed down a little bit. I had to take my mother-in-law, who was out here for a couple days, take her to the airport, and then I'm actually, had that time, and then had to meet my brother at the big game that we had down here in Omaha, Nebraska. I think we all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting. I think going forward, Pittsburgh, in my opinion.
The fuck you eating?
Sorry.
The fuck you eating, man?
Some of that cum.
Jesus Christ almighty.
Curdled cum.
So, God, I guess it's a little bit loud, my jaw.
I thought Scott Grazier came back to life for a second.
That's not cool. That's not cool. That's not.
Oh, come on, man.
So, in case you guys didn't know what I was talking about, I took my brother to the Creighton basketball game. For the listeners out there who don't know what big game we were at.
Oh, yeah, how'd that going go?
It was fine. It was honestly more of my brother and I hadn't seen each other in a while. He lives up in the Northwest, so he flew down. He's going to fly back with me for Christmas. So it was nice to have him down. And
hey, why'd you have to look up the game? Were you so drunk you forgot who they played?
No, I wanted to make sure I got who they played correct because, like I said, we weren't really paying that much attention. It was kind of like you've been to games like that where you don't necessarily care, right? Where it's just like, oh, I'm watching the Grizz basketball team play Sac State, and you don't give a shit who wins because you're just chatting the whole time. So
that's cool. That's cool, man.
Yeah. So yeah, big weekend for everybody. Now the Steelers are still alive in the playoff race. My thing is they're going to lose to Kansas City next week, and then if they beat Cleveland and Baltimore, I think they're going to make the playoffs. That's my prediction. Hopefully it happens. So let's move on to the big controversy of this episode. Before we get into the fun stuff, but the big controversy is going to have to wait because I want to look at some podcast numbers here. And how is the Prison City podcast doing finishing this year? Just going to update everybody here, and we'll just say things have not quite gone as well as they have. We'll just kind of say the show is starting to tank a little bit. As you see here on the chart, we were up around 45 in September, and then October that jumped down to 40, and then by November we were down below 30. You see the line just kind of goes down to 0 is where we're currently at. So,
hey, you know what? We just need that fourth wave to come, man. You know, the fourth wave. That's all we need.
So that's
fucking crazy.
That's one way to look at it. But I have a couple more charts to present here, if you don't mind. So if you look at the episodes here in the next chart here. I'll pull this one up. Thank you, Susan. All right. Right after the witchcraft episode, we started to hit a high. It seems like then the witchcraft kind of took over. So you see the satanic cult haunted house, cancel culture, Donald Trump one, 24. Next one is on Netflix, which is trending. Kyle Rittenhouse, 22 views. And then we go to the metaverse of Mark Zuckerberg, not quite as popular, 18. Kyle Rittenhouse trial got down to 17. How can you have sex approved out on Instagram? Man, we got down to 12. What happened to the stolen Cordell Stewart jersey? It went into the single digits on that one as we went down to 7. And then, this is kind of an interesting chart here. And then from 7, it went down to 4 with the Jesus and the COVID-19. What does the Bible say? And do parallel realities exist? That has 0 so far. So hopefully that one picked up a little bit.
Give it time.
Give it time.
Give it a week.
You know, and here's the thing that's going to happen is people
gave it a week.
People are going to be traveling here soon, and then they're going to start listening to podcasts. That's what I like to do when I travel a lot. So they're going to be pumping up that. I'm telling you right now, that Cordell Stewart jersey one's going to fucking take off, man.
That one's going to hit. I just think people are really sensitive to any stories that have to do with maybe someone stalking and abusing a woman.
I think, yeah, that's probably pretty safe to say.
So the controversy here is, and we're not going to bring this up publicly, but I don't know if I really consider this a public podcast and someone listens to it.
I know there's 4 downloads and there's 4 of us on the podcast. I think I piece it together.
Let's do the math.
Yeah, we still had 326 downloads over the last 90 days, but we're going to come out and read the real public here probably in the next couple weeks or whatever. So I want to kind of honestly just get it out there so we can crack jokes about it all the way from now till past New Year's. We have a comedy group called Das Fruit. It's a Das Fruit improv group, and we've been traveling doing shows this past fall or whatever. And here in Dearlodge, Montana, there is our Cutler Brothers Theater on one end, and then there's the Rialto Theater, community theater, which is a really nice theater. Unfortunately, burnt down a while back. They rebuilt and everything. Anyways, there's this big shot, this really big comedian, or supposedly he's a big comedian coming in. And several weeks back, we were asked to open our Das Fruit routine for that big name comedian or whatever, because this Rialto Theater has been bringing in comedian stuff, and we've performed at the Rialto many times before. And so it was all cool. So we had a verbal agreement to perform at the Rialto Theater, and then basically the Rialto board started contacting us and saying, well, we need to get approval from the comedian now. It's like, what? We have to have approval from a comedian to perform before his show? So it didn't really make any sense to us at all. So I got on there, started sending her stuff, sending the board stuff or whatever. And at first I asked, what exactly do they want to see for approval? So I sent them a comedy skit we did like a year and a half ago, and came back, and the comedy guy said, no, that's just too much foul language and stuff like that. So like, okay, well, what do they want? Because we're improv. She explained we do improv. It's 100% improv, which means it could be a G-rated show, an R-rated show, an X-rated show. And basically, she told him that, and send some of our Das Fruit stuff. And the guy basically has decided to boycott us and ban us from performing before his show in our own fucking hometown. And so here, let me just pull up an image really quick of this guy. Now, Mahomes, tell me, this guy does not look like a douchebag at all to you. Just tell me what you think of this photo of this guy.
Oh, Willie Lee Martin. Sure.
Yeah, he's bigger than Dave Chappelle.
I know. Who doesn't know Willie Lee? That's fucking disappointing. Like, I guess I don't know the whole setup on openers and stuff like that, but it's and clearly the Rialto didn't either, because like, why the hell would they reach out to you guys? And if you want to kind of have like, hey, I'm coming to your hometown to do this show, isn't it like a good like community goodwill thing to have another comedy troupe like here's the
thing about openers. Kelly and you guys, I wasn't there, but Das Fruit's open for like again, was it Shane Smith?
Shane Smith, yeah.
Shane Smith. Yeah. He's way bigger than this guy. And we've had Theo Vaughn. Yes, Theo Vaughn, who has a Netflix special, has performed at our Cutler Brothers Theater, and we had random ass people open for him. He did not fucking ask any questions whatsoever.
So hey, Mark, we opened up for Shane Spears too.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, and that's it. That's tough. I'm sure he probably blew you guys out of the water, but he did.
Hey, but Pat's right though. Yeah, we had Theo Vaughn. He's probably the biggest out of anyone that we've ever had in our theater, or like the comedy circle that we've known. He's probably the biggest guy who's walked through the doors of our theater, for his credentials. And was really down to earth, just cool as fuck.
Yeah, Theo Vaughn sells out arenas, like not arenas, but big theaters, like all over the place, all over the country. Not just like, so the fact that he was even like cool enough to be like, yeah, I'll do something in Deer Lodge. Like he didn't need to stop in Deer Lodge. He's plenty successful to where he could have just been like, I'll just go to Missoula and Billings and you guys can go fuck off. So
that
he definitely didn't need
it was 6 or 7 years ago. So it was quite a while ago. He was big, but now he's like kind of exploding with his podcast and everything. But this guy coming to the Rialto, yeah, it's just like, I'm not personally going out looking for controversy whatsoever, but it's like when you text us and set up a verbal contract and ask us how much you got to pay us, and we've opened for you before, and we're hometown boys and yada, 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 and then all of a sudden just through text message, unfortunately, he doesn't want you opening for him. It's just like, that's a big fuck you, and that's terrible for business. This isn't New York or Chicago or something. This is a tiny town in the middle of nowhere.
What kind of fucking douchebag who honestly is not that? This guy's been like a CMT or a couple times or whatever, but it's like the guy has like 2,000 followers on Twitter. It's not like he's this major comedian. What kind of douchebag shows up in someone's hometown and says the hometown comedy crew can't fucking open for him? Like, what kind of douchebag would do that?
Yeah, well, comedians, unfortunately, a lot of comedians are just extremely pretentious and shit and think their shit doesn't stink, and that's kind of what's turned me off from comedy. I love watching like good comedians. I love watching Chappelle and, the old school Chris Farley's and everything on SNL. But nowadays, like, man, most of them, maybe I shouldn't say most, but a big majority of them are just fucking tools, that laugh at each other's jokes. And if you're an outsider, they're not going to laugh at you, and they're just going to try to force you out of the game. And I hate that fucking circuit. Like in Chicago, you know, I performed in all kinds of venues down there, and it was comedians watching comedians, and it just was a very toxic environment. And I don't think it needs to be that way. I think it needs to be where we support each other, like we have always done up here in Deer Lodge, Montana.
But yeah, here's the other things he's requested. And I do want to dedicate a full episode to this, so I don't want to say too much. But he's also requested a 5-star hotel to be set up in Deer Lodge, which there are no five. Those don't exist. He's requested a 5-star meal when he comes down. He's requested a limo pick him up at the airport and bring him to the theater. These are all at the time that Theo Von was at Cutler Theater, he was way bigger than this guy still is, because I have no clue who this guy is. Do you have any idea who this guy is?
I've never heard of him, but I mean, I don't know country comedians all that well. I know there's like some super big country comedians, and I'm just not super hip to that scene, to be totally honest. So he must, like, if he's asking for those things, he must be used to getting them. But I mean, also, like, is it on his booking agent to, like, does he not know where he's coming? Is this one of those things where maybe some people from Rock Creek are fans of his and they bring him to town, not really giving him the full background on where he's coming?
He's going to other places in Montana too.
The Rialto's been heavy on these fucking comedians the last 2 years or longer. And what's annoying to me is, like, we've ran the comedy scene in this town for the last 12 years, you know, or longer, you know, last 20 years. But they didn't even bother to reach out and say, hey, do you guys got a comedy night on either of these 2 nights? We're planning on bringing in a comedian. Do you got anything going since you've been doing it for so long? That was the first, like, fuck you to us. But, you know, we forgot about it. It's like, okay, they want to do comedians, whatever. It's your venue, do it. But it was just like a nice gesture to reach out to the guys that have been doing it. Again, we're not in a 1 million person town or a 12 million person town. We are in a 2,000 person town. This is bad for fucking business. So this guy's just, and I guess they're paying him like astronomically. And when Theo Von came through 6 or 7 years ago, we paid him, I think, $800, or maybe it was $800 for the entire show. This guy, I guarantee, is making no less than $3,000, if not double that.
Damn.
Yeah.
I mean, will the Rialto even make their money back? Like, again, I don't know. Maybe there's people in Deer Lodge that are super into him and they'll show up in droves. But based on what I remember of, like, individual performers coming to town that people didn't know that well, it's not like the show's sold out or anything.
Well, that's what I keep asking myself. I kind of wanted to ask you too, Mahoney, if you're back living in Deer Lodge, the tickets at the door are $30 a piece, you know, for a comedian, you know, and you got a show like we just produced, Home Alone, that ended on the 19th. You know, it's like people in town don't have a lot of extra money here. You know what I'm saying?
$30 for a guy you don't really know. And look at this. This was sent earlier by Matt to me. It's show, and he just said we couldn't perform because of our content. Then it says shows intended for audiences 16 years and older. So that's the complete fucking opposite of what we were just told. Like 16 and older humor. We sent him a skit that had 16 and older humor on it. So it's like, what are they even fucking talking about at this point?
So let's just say everyone buys their ticket in advance. And let's say Kelly, on Kelly's guesstimate, let's call it a $6,000 pay that he's getting. They would need 240 people to go to that show to break even.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we were supposed to open for him, and we're also supposed to do the bar for him, but it's like we can't support this now because it's bad fucking business. And again, the Rialto, you know, they don't have a spine, but I put most of the blame on this guy and it's mainly his fucking agent, because that's who, like, they were communicating with. But it's like, come on, like, that's just so shitty for somebody that you see in the grocery store on a weekly basis. You know, that's just so shitty to fucking do. And it's like, I don't want to fight. I don't want a knife fight here. But when somebody, I tell Pat this, when somebody punches you, you got to punch back, you know,
yeah.
when they back into a corner.
And this is what he's doing, basically, the Deer Lodge and us. There it is. Look at the big fucking douchebag. Oh, look at me. I'm Mr. Big Shot. But nobody, you know, one of the things he said was, he said, they're not going to be his type of audience. It's like, do you think he has fans in Deer Lodge? Nobody even fucking knows who he is. It's like,
it is our audience.
I know it is our fucking audience. So, yeah. So that's that. It's just something to talk about. As things heat up and we get close to it, we'll have our final word on it or whatever. But it was just something fun to talk about. And in case you didn't, see the earlier last week's promo for the podcast, there he is circling all over old wrist.
I saw that and I was like, honestly, is that Josh Kane in a cowboy hat? Or like, that was my first thought. And I was wondering why the hell that would be. So yeah, that was pretty weird.
Hey, Mahoney, in honor of him boycotting us, he gets to circle the wagons for us tonight. Just so you know.
That would be great. That would be great. You know what he could get? What would be cool if you guys, when he was having his 5-star meal at the Broken Arrow there, if you guys could drop off a boycott Pat Cutler shirt, I think that would be just, in the spirit of the holidays. That would be cool.
Yeah, and Pat, I know you want to get on to other things, but the last thing I'll say is just like comedians, stop playing the fucking political game, especially when you're like a lower tier or a mid tier, whatever this guy is. He's no fucking Dave Chappelle, Stop playing that game where like your shit doesn't stink, okay? You're not Brad Pitt, you're not Jim Carrey. It's just like be a normal, good human being and maybe trust the guys that have been doing comedy here for 20 fucking years to open for you. We opened for Shane Smith, and Shane was great. He was a great guy. And some people said, that they even liked our opener better than the headlining comedian. Trust us. It's our town.
That's the other thing. Does he not want to be shown up? Maybe he's afraid he's going to be shown up by us. That's a real legit fear for someone's ego. When someone slams you like that, it's more about them than it is about you. So maybe he's afraid we're going to show him up.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe.
And I mean, it could be, in fairness to this guy, because I don't know him at all, maybe it's his agent the whole time and just being like, no, I'm fine with a one-person opener. I don't want a whole troop of people coming in, trying, stealing the spotlight. I could see that as an agent, like trying to, protect their guy or whatever. But that stinks, man. That's shitty news.
If it is strictly just the agent, then what a shitty move on the agent's part, especially if he doesn't know, then I feel kind of bad. But it's like, yeah, that's a shitty fucking move. What a shitty agent.
Are they going to have anyone open for him, or is it just going to be him?
If they do, it's a bigger slap in the face to us. So I hope not.
100%. Yeah, I hope no one opens, or else that'd be bad news.
Yeah, that'd be fucking terrible.
Well, once again, give the people a fucking show. Have a couple comedians up there.
I don't. Yeah,
they should.
It's a fucking ego thing. This guy has a massive ego. I think they're afraid that if we open for him, I think he probably knows. They're afraid that if we open for him, we get tons of laughs. Because the one I sent him, the spelling bee skit, it had a shitload of laughs on it. So in the back of my mind, I'm thinking they're probably thinking, oh, if this local group gets a bunch of laughs and he gets up there and goes second, he's not going to be as good. It's an ego thing. It's a fucking ego thing. That's all it fucking is. Gigantic fucking ego thing. And like I said, we'll see what happens. But when we strike back here in a couple of weeks, that's our Christmas present to him. We'll give you Christmas. Merry Christmas. Merry fucking Christmas. That's your Christmas present. And then afterwards, okay, game on. In another news today.
This might be kind of petty, but it would be also kind of funny. You should find out where else he's performing in Montana and ask to open for him there, but only ask the venue.
Oh, that'd be fucking funny.
He's going to Circle, Montana.
Are you serious?
I said, Good luck finding a 5-star hotel in Circle, Montana.
Yeah, I don't.
Circle. Do they even have a hotel at all?
Like they even have a venue what do they got, a bar or something?
I have no clue. Didn't Dave and Candace, what were their names? They just moved over there. The teacher, Miller. Or does anybody even know who those are?
I have no clue.
Yeah, Circle's in the middle of nowhere. There's not even 600 people live there.
I think our grandfather born in Circle, or was that Belt?
I think it's Belt.
I thought it was there's something with Circle. I thought it was Circle.
Circle and Belt are not that far from each other as I'm looking at this map here.
Okay. Well, We're not moving on here. Let's go to the actual Christmas part of the Christmas special. So first Christmas category is how big of a fucking douchebag is William Lee Martin?
Nice.
Okay, let's go on.
I was thinking that was actually the first question.
I was hoping that wasn't actually the first question, but
All right. What's your favorite Christmas movie of all time?
I'll start since it was awkward silence there for a minute. Christmas Vacation. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I will explain why. One, it's really funny, but it's a family tradition of ours. When I was growing up, on Christmas Eve, we would go to that 5:30 mass or whatever it was, and then we'd all come home and watch Christmas Vacation before everyone went to sleep and woke up on Christmas morning. So I like the movie, but it's also probably a little more like sentimental value.
All right. Second question. Why do you have a perfection shirt when they clearly lost in the fucking playoff that year, Notre Dame?
Because we're talking about the regular season. And guess what? 12-0.
Christmas Vacation is a pretty popular one. My favorite memory of that movie actually is I used to work at Rent-A-Center in Pittsburgh, and at Rent-A-Center, they always had their TVs out or whatever. And during the Christmas season, where I worked all the way to like Christmas Eve at 5 o'clock, I got off or something. They had that movie playing all day long in our Rent-A-Center store. So I watched that many times, although I was on the road most of the time. Good movie. Kelly, what's your favorite movie?
Man, I like so many of them, but if I could only pick one to watch forever, it'd probably be what we're doing at our theater right now, Home Alone, or A Christmas Story, just because the Christmas Story is so nostalgic, and watching it with our grandma and watching it with our mom every Christmas and stuff. So one of those two, I bet.
Yeah. Home Alone's pretty good. There's a lot of cool stuff off of Home Alone. And again, we're doing that at the Cutler Brothers Theater. We had our first ever stage version of Home Alone at our theater here in Deer Lodge, Montana. First time it's ever been done on stage. And
it's starring William Harvey Oswald, or whatever that fucking comedian's name is, playing Marv.
Yeah, and I wish you guys were there. I wish you guys were there. We were sold out every single show of that last weekend. Could not fit another body in there. It was insane.
Especially if your body's as big as William Lee Oswald.
or your ego.
Oh, geez. I think the ego would sell out the entire fucking place.
Yeah, no shit.
What's your favorite movie, Matt?
Just going off what Mahoney said, I don't think I've ever seen the Vacation National Lampoon start to finish. I've seen clips, but I don't know if I ever have. Maybe I have in an alternate universe. But I'd have to say a staple of mine would be the Santa Claus starring Tim Allen.
Tim Allen,
yeah, I quote that movie all the freaking time. I just know it from start to finish. I'd say that's definitely a staple, and we just watched it the other night, so definitely got that in.
Yeah, that's solid.
I have a shitload of movies. I actually have a defined Christmas rotation I go off of every fucking year, and I'll just go through that. It goes Die Hard, then Die Hard 2, then Reindeer Games, then Long Kiss Goodnight, because those are my top 4 favorite Christmas movie action films. And then I go into Surviving Christmas with Ben Affleck. Have you ever seen Surviving Christmas? That's a clap. That's actually a really fucking funny movie. It's actually really creative and stuff. And then I have the Polar Express on there, the Santa Claus, and I think Jingle All the Way rounds it off with. So I might go with out of all of those, I might go with Jingle All the Way. I really like that film, actually.
I've only seen it once.
Really?
Oh, shit.
It's just, there's a lot of just goofy ass cliche moments and shit in that. They're just funnier than fuck. It's so stupid and stuff. It's really good.
To see Schwarzenegger doing his thing in there. We watched, I remember when that came out, it was a long time ago because I was pretty young. And the day after Christmas, we all hopped in the car to Butte and went and watched the movie as a family in theaters. So I remember Jingle All the Way for that.
Yeah, no, it was pretty cool, and it was fun because it's like back then when they first made it, it looks like the cartoon at the beginning. They were pretty much emulating like a different version of like the Power Rangers, is what they were doing essentially, and the Power Rangers were super fucking popular at that time. So that I thought the theme was kind of funny off of that.
Yeah, that movie's hilarious as hell as an adult. We watched it the other night. It's actually free on YouTube if you want to go on YouTube. Yeah, it's free. So if you want to go in there and watch it. But yeah, it's so much funnier nowadays than even it was as a kid, you know, just because you appreciate stupidity, I guess.
Yeah. I think two that have grown on me too, which are some of Mom's favorites too, is Christmas with the Cranks. That's with Tim Allen as well.
Oh yeah,
I watch that every year now. And then what was the fucking other one I was trying to think of? Oh, the Four Christmases. That one came out a few years ago. I like that one as well. It's kind of who directs all that shit with fucking is it the Farrelly brothers or whatever?
Oh yeah,
probably.
Like White Chicks and shit or whatever, but they not White Chicks, but they have that type of humor in there where it's just fucking hilarious halfway through and kind of gets a little too sentimental for me.
Yeah, another one of my favorites is a Muppets Christmas Carol, which is one of my favorites.
It's Cameron Farring's favorite.
Yeah,
Muppets Christmas Carol.
Yeah, I fucking love it. It's amazing. I'm gonna watch it tonight.
A Muppets Christmas Carol. I'll have to watch that one. No, I'm just kidding. I've watched that. We watched that in some theater once. What's your favorite Christmas story of all time? Favorite Christmas story?
Oh God, dang it!
I'll go with mine.
Story.
I was sick that year. I stayed home from church, and it was the first time I actually masturbated. And what happened was,
jeez.
no, I'm just kidding. That's not true.
I was in 6th grade.
Gosh.
Like Christmas Day, or was Santa Claus came, or is that what you mean?
Well, Santa Claus came at different times for a lot of people.
Yeah. I guess let's not even go there.
I mean, different people. For some people,
It's a family episode. Didn't start off that way by you saying you were drinking jizz, but we're gonna get there.
Chugging the eggnog.
For some people, Santa Claus came every night.
It wasn't just once a year.
I guess I'll start to get this going. I'd say my favorite Christmas memory is probably a conglomeration of just being a kid and doing the same things every single year. Like we went to church, you know, the 5 o'clock mass here in Deer Lodge. Then that supposedly was when Santa came. So after that, got home from church, then all the presents were out and we just ripped through them and shit. Then on Christmas, we had other plans, like went to our grandma's in Butte or Kellogg or whatever. But yeah, I just want to say that, like, the excitement, I guess, just leading up to it. And it's weird because you don't feel that often or nowadays, you know. But
yeah, once your kid years, Christmas actually is very okayish. My favorite one was going. So our Christmas tradition was we would go to church and then come back, and Santa Claus would came during church or whatever, and
Okay, go on. Santa came during church.
Like sacrilegious, fucked up thing.
Pat's like, I put it in an eggnog jug. Feed it to my dog.
Santa comes at different times. Santa comes at church.
No, honestly, these sound like the way what you just described sounds like porno names. I guess comes at different times.
I'll change the wordings. It's started. I bet that I was a joke. I kind of just changed the whole thing. Santa arrived during.
This is why our podcast numbers are going down.
I don't know. This is good stuff. This is good stuff.
Okay,
Oh, I've arrived.
So when
You want me to tell mine first?
when Santa came down the chimney and dropped his sack.
Jeez. They're like, how many edibles did these motherfuckers do before this thing?
Seriously.
How do you say that? I'm like not being perverted. Okay, when Santa showed up with a big giant sack
Of toys.
Yes,
toys,
of toys.
it happened during church.
God.
I go to yours. I can't do that.
Okay, yeah, you take a time out there, young man.
You take a break. I'll give you a serious story. I'll put on my serious face for a second. One of my favorite memories, a lot like Matt, I just loved like the whole tradition of it and kind of family around. But I remember the one Christmas like where I was just the most stoked is my brother and I were not able to play video games for a long time in the house because when I was younger, like real younger, like 5, 6, maybe 7, we used to just get in like fist fights over RBI baseball, if anyone remembers that on like the original Nintendo. So they took it away from us for a long time. So then I want to say I was either in 5th or 6th grade, maybe 5th, and we came up there and they had given us a Nintendo 64. So we were finally able to have video games in the house again, and that was a big deal. That was a big win for us. And what was hilarious is because they kept it from us because we were so competitive and would get so angry. And probably like 2 months later, my brother had punched a hole in the wall downstairs.
That's hilarious. Well,
Yeah.
I think I liked all the younger, when you're a kid, and it just was so much cooler. And then, you'd stay up and just play with your presents all night, or like I remember getting PC video games for like the computer, like the Everest one or Roller Coaster Tycoon or all this stuff. Just stay up playing those or board games. So yeah, I wish that Christmas was a little bit more. I don't want to say meaningful, but I just wish that you had like that excitement for it, and it wasn't just like, oh yeah, it's Christmas, okay, let's have a big dinner, and then tomorrow I'll go back to your fucking normal life. I just wish that magic, I guess so to say, was still there. But one of them that I remember was we weren't even in Deer Lodge. We were heading out to, was it Pittsburgh that year we were going, Matt? And we spent Christmas Eve in Deadwood City, right?
Yeah.
And I just remember there's snow, and we went to mass that night and everything, probably dinner. And then Matt and I went downtown Deadwood to play the slots and shit. And they were getting a ton of snow, but we could walk. We're only a few blocks away. Nobody was in Deadwood City at all that night except for Matt and I. We were like playing blackjack, and I guarantee all these dealers are just like, go the fuck home, man. It's Christmas Eve. We want to get home. And then we ended up going out to Pittsburgh that year. I think we ate Christmas dinner at a fucking Pizza Hut?
Domino's or something.
Domino's. Yeah.
The only thing open.
Only place open, yeah. So I remember that one vividly.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that back to my story. So our dad would play Santa, and he would put out the gifts and presents from Santa when we were all at church or whatever. Well, turns out he'd have us go to the car or something, I want to say, and then we'd just wait in the car and he'd come out 2 seconds later, or you go take a shower. We used to shower at the local high school because we didn't have a shower in our house growing up as kids. Now that I'm back in town, I still sneak over there and take showers. So we get showered up at the locker room there in the high school, right on Christmas Eve night. And then I want to say sometimes we'd take off right from there, and maybe my mom would put out the presents or whatever. But one year he had the most cockeyed fucking idea alive. And I didn't just know Butch how he thinks. Sometimes it makes sense now. I think what he tried to do was he basically told us to go wait in the car, and he's gonna come out and drive us to church. So we were just gonna wait there for a little bit, and we're all little kids or whatever. What? The fuck is going on?
Sorry.
But
passes out.
But we're waiting in the car, and I don't know what I think he must have had like 1,000 different presents he had to set up because he's taking fucking forever. So finally, like me and Kelly used to have this window of the house that used to be set up this little vertical window on the side, and I kind of like got up on a rock or whatever to look inside the house to see what the fuck was going on because he was taking forever. And I could see like this bike with like wrapping all over it, like big bows and wrapping and stuff. I was like, oh dude, Santa came already or whatever, and blah 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 blah. And then all this shit. And then I went back to the car that my dad eventually showed up, and I told him all about it. He's like, oh yeah, I was getting dressed. I could hear him eating your milk and cookies. It's like, really? That's weird because we always set out it was a 6-pack of beer and it's already gone. But yeah, that year, it was kind of one of those years where it's like many times of clear-cut evidence that there is no Santa yet. Clearly, just kept believing. But I would say that in the day, I'll never forget the day that like my parents finally told my older brother that he had to tell me that Santa wasn't real, and my mind just exploded. I was like, because like
what a parenting job there. Like, hey, we're not going to tell him, so you need to tell him.
What day was that, Pat? I've never heard that story.
It was last week actually. Oh, no, it's like it was a summer day. It was not like holiday season or anything. And just out of nowhere, he was kind of just like, yeah, Santa Claus isn't real. And it's like, I'm like, oh, here's also, you can tell from my personality, these people that know me that I take people at their fucking word. So when someone tells me something's true, nowadays you question shit a lot more, but like, still at that time, I took people at their word. What are you saying, Matt?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that's such like Albert to do.
Hey,
Santa Claus is not real, right?
Going on that concept. Yeah, what's the rest of your stories? Let me get mine out of the way really quick. It was actually on Easter, and I remember I was like in 6th grade. Just joking, I wasn't that old, but it was Easter, and I walked into like this room in my grandma Kay's house, and I saw like all these wrappers in the trash. And I was like, for some reason that just clicked, like, oh fuck, the Easter Bunny is my mom. So I walked into the room and I was like, hey, Mom, the fuck's this bullshit? I said, is the Easter Bunny not real? And she goes, no, he's not. So I was like, So I go, well, does that mean Santa Claus isn't real? She's like, nope. And I remember specifically, I didn't ask her about the tooth fairy because I wanted to like pretend like one was actually real. But pretty soon after that, I realized that nothing was real.
What the fuck?
But you get to that point though where I did the same thing where it's like, well, what about okay, maybe Santa Claus, I guess that makes sense because he goes to those houses or whatever, but the Easter Bunny's real, right? No. And then it's weird. Right, you go Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, then immediately you go to the Tooth Fairy. You better not fucking tell me the Tooth Fairy is not real, because that one.
Are you even my parents? No.
We honestly, we just found you on the street and here we are.
Yeah.
Why is it that the Tooth Fairy one though is the one that you have in your bullpen thinking that's gotta be 100% real no matter what? Like, why was that the number one?
I think maybe because it happens in the middle. Well, I guess they all happen in the middle of the night. But I think just you want to continue to believe in something like that. Like, it's sad because it's so magical for like what, 6, 7, 8 years of your life, and then all of a sudden it's like, God, nothing. This kind of fucking sucks. But anyways, Mahoney and Matt, what's your guys' little story?
So mine's kind of funny. I remember like pretty vividly when it all clicked. I was in 3rd grade, and I was asking. The only thing I wanted for was a fucking bear claw, like not the donut, but like an actual claw from a bear. I don't know, dumb little kid shit. And like a couple days before Christmas, my dad was really good friends with Ed Scharf at the time, and of course, like Ed Scharf knew a guy who could get me a bear claw. So for whatever reason, instead of just like giving it to my dad or giving it to my parents to like keep the whole Santa myth alive, Ed shows up at our house like a couple days before Christmas dressed as Santa Claus and like comes bursting through the door And I was like, I was like, oh, so this whole thing's a fucking farce. Cause I know that's Ed Sharp. Like, that's fucking Ed Sharp. Okay. That's not Santa Claus.
Well, that's the other thing is like, why have someone like when they did it at like the church or something like that, when you were kid at the church or at this Christmas stroll in Deer Lodge, they always happen to have someone do it that you didn't really fucking know or anything. So it was like really like it was an older guy, like this is really fucking Santa. But then like one year, I think Matt, didn't you find out that Santa Claus wasn't real because your grade school teacher is clearly Santa Claus one year? Your church or Sunday school teacher was.
Oh yeah, it was Jim Fox.
Yeah, how's he doing these days?
Yeah, he didn't make it.
Too soon.
He turned into a real Santa Claus then.
Yeah, I don't have a story where someone just straight up said there is no Santa Claus. Maybe I heard that along the way, but I don't remember. It's almost just like came to accept it as the older you got, I guess. You do see signs everywhere, and you put two to two together. I mean, fuck, unless you believe in that shit forever,
So there
we're
wasn't
not idiots.
A specific moment where you were like, that you can go back to that says, yeah, that was the reason that I, knew that Santa Claus wasn't real.
No, not in my head. I just think it kind of was one of those things you figured out and you just put two and two together. And it's like, I guess back then you didn't really have to announce, I don't believe in Santa Claus anymore. If anyone cares, I just think I kind of evolved with everyone else and those who still did believe in Santa Claus. And I don't know.
And how old were you, Mahoney, when that story happened?
So what? Third grade, I'd have put me at 8, right? I would have just turned 8 years old at that point. My birthday's in November, so yeah, I'd have just turned 8. Jeez. And I remember I was like super fucking emotional. I was mad. I was real mad. Like slamming doors and fucking screaming. Like I was.
Was Ed Sharp still there when you freaked out?
Oh yeah.
It's kind of sickening when you think about it. Do you do that to a kid? Is that just like a rite of passage for like America's adulthood or whatever? You have to go through believing something bullshit.
I can say it now that now that I'm in the like throes of being a parent to a kid who's like very much believes in it, and it's cool because it kind of brings back the magic for you a little bit. You can see like how just awesome everything is, but it's very much whoever came up with it did it to like make sure your little kids weren't assholes for like a month. Basically, it's just like, hey, little kids, don't be pricks for a month, and you'll get some cool stuff at the end of that month. Okay.
Yeah.
Mommy and Daddy had a long year. And so it's just like control the kids and make sure they're not total pricks.
It's also kind of hard when you have kids spaced out. Like you had an older sister quite a ways older than you, and like my daughter's starting to do that, where she's like, she's almost like gonna be 11 in the summer, and she pretty much knows now. But now she's telling, my 5-year-old son, like, he's not real. I was like, just could you not do that, please?
Can you let him have his moment for a little bit?
If you do that, I'm gonna have another kid because I want to relive that for another 6 years or 8 years or 10 years or whatever.
I wonder what the reasoning behind that is, though, because it is kind of psychologically like you instantly fuck kids up, and then they go, oh, now what can I believe in? What's real, or maybe there's something deeper than that we don't understand, or maybe it's like, if you can actually believe in that, then maybe later on you can believe in actually doing stuff as an adult, like living your dreams and your imagination, all that.
Well, that's what I was kind of going off that. Yeah, I was just gonna say I was kind of going off that, where it's like, as a kid, maybe you actually believe that a guy goes into your house dressed as Santa and drops off gifts. You know what I'm saying? But I think what I was saying, how your mindset and whatever evolves as you get older, and you're like, yeah, I still want to believe this because there's still presents under the table or under the fuck. We had a weird Christmas.
there's still presents in the shower at high school.
but I was just gonna say, do you actually believe that a man actually came into your house and went down went down the chimney and came while you were at church. No, but you want to believe in the spirit.
Well,
of the
look at
whole
the
thing.
fucking
I knew he came the year that he brought me his summer sausage.
Look at the fucking propaganda they shoved down your shit, though. Like, like the movie.
Pat, can I just say thanks for listening to all of our fans, Pat, Matt, Mark Mahoney. Thanks for listening.
Absolutely. You know what, man? I'm happy to be one of 4 subscribers.
Yeah,
I have another story now, because I remember in first grade I was friends with a kid named John Lindsay, who I'm sure everyone remembers. He had an older brother named James Wheat, and we were playing like on the monkey bars, and James Wheat came and told us that Santa wasn't real, and I was in first grade. And I remember I went and I asked my parents, like I went home and I asked my parents, and they had like, because I was like, he's older, he knows, you know. And so they talked me back into it for like one more Christmas. I had second grade. So first grade, I was a little bit of maybe of a Santa truther. And then second grade, I was bought back in. And then right before Christmas, my third grade year, I was like, no, Ed Sharf. Fucking Ed Sharf.
For me, though, I mean, I don't want to call it traumatic, but I was fucking devastated. Like, it felt like waking up in the fucking Twilight Zone. Like, it seriously felt like, I was like, this can't be. I'm a mannequin again. I was like, this can't be fucking true.
Well,
how could this
do you
be
think
true?
that does that also where you fall in line with your family too? Because Mark and the rest of you guys, I'm pretty sure your oldest sibling has a very different story than, you know.
Oh, for sure.
Going down on the line, you know.
For sure.
Once the oldest finds out, then they fucking tell everyone basically.
And my sister was really cool about not fucking that up. I'm sure my mom threatened her within an inch of her life, like, don't ruin this for your brothers, kind of a thing, you know. So
it might be like someone said, a rite of passage, you know. Maybe it is something they set up like as a growing thing to assist people in kids in growing, you know. I don't know why or how, but I mean, it just seems like after you stop believing in this stuff, you basically start maturing, you know what I mean, becoming wise, and you see that you shouldn't believe shit on fucking paper. Anything your parents tell you.
As he wears that fucking Santa hat.
So yeah, it's a great lesson. You shouldn't believe a fucking thing any adult tells you is a message.
Yes, especially your parents.
Sorry.
No, but you know, you go back, and this is a fun story segment.
Kelly's dressed up like an Easter bunny.
Don't believe it. Fucking thing I say.
You go back, you know, everybody, you know, you said like everybody remembers where they were when like 9/11 happened, you know. Well, my mom woke me up. She said, yeah, plane just hit the Twin Towers. Like, okay, whatever. I'm going back to bed. You know, I don't remember that. But Santa Claus, yeah, I think everybody remembers. Was it more devastating than 9/11? Well, yeah, I lived like 2,000 miles away from that shit.
Well, I think you woke up, Pat, and Mom said, yeah, the Twin Towers are going down. You said, yeah, it's a hoax. Then you went back to bed.
Oh yeah,
that sounds more familiar. It's a false flag operation by the state.
No, I literally looked at it. I was like, yeah, and you also said Santa Claus is real.
That's funny you bring up 9/11 because I had a joke about it earlier. It's not a joke. It was a Family Guy episode I was watching that made me laugh pretty hard. Peter takes his family on vacation and they get to ground zero. And Peter's like, look there, family. That's where the first guy that had AIDS was from. And Brian's just like, Peter, you fucking idiot. This is the site of 9/11. I don't know why that struck me as funny.
That's really funny, actually.
So they could say that again on TV, but we can't say shit in our shows.
No.
They can talk about AIDS and 9/11.
No, just ask William Lee Martin.
There it is. I was going to say, I figured once you started talking about comedy again, I thought his name would get brought up.
So the next segment, because that kind of wraps up, I was going to do a Christmas memory story, but that, or tradition, that kind of wraps up everything there. And I I still think about holidays themselves. So this is just an interesting take on holidays and Christianity and different things. Through December 25th is the day of Christians, obviously the day of Christmas or whatever. The date itself and several of the customs that we celebrate with Christmas actually revolve around pagan traditions. Like Christmas is really close to celebrating the winter solstice, and just I see a lot of people is Christmas is about really bringing out your inner pagan, which is an interesting take on this. But here's the holidays listed, that the known holidays we have that have pagan origins, where these were holidays that pagans originally celebrated on pretty much the exact date, same dates is Christmas, New Year's Day, Easter, the Roman version of Halloween, and Labor Day. I'm not sure what Labor Day has to do in there, but anyways, what do you guys think of that?
I had known that. I didn't know Labor Day because that, like you had mentioned, this seems pretty random. Like, not okay. I didn't know pagans were super concerned with the the labor of their coworkers, but I had known about all that stuff. Just kind of, I'm fascinated by history and how things kind of happened and how they are. So yeah, I don't really have any opinion. I knew about it before, and I still love Christmas. So if you don't love Christmas, then fuck you. No, I don't mean that. But
I just love how Halloween is on everyone's like chart as one of the top holidays. You know what I'm saying? All these religions celebrated, or have something to do with Halloween or the day after. That's just crazy in my opinion.
And Halloween, became something that adults can celebrate too, which is really cool, because they kind of, like we just said, they fuck up Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy and all that shit. But Halloween's like the one that we all clung on to, like, we're still going to dress up and, now we're just getting drunk doing it, taking our kids around to trick or treat. But Pat, what did you say about the pagans? That they created these holidays, or that they just celebrate them? What was the intro to that?
These all have like the same dates and everything as like a pagan celebration, like summer solstice, not summer solstice, but like winter solstice for Christmas. This is just a quick little blip, but all these are on the exact same area that a pagan celebration would normally take place before Christianity came along.
Yeah, I don't think, like, I know that like there's specific meanings for the holidays and stuff, but one, we don't even know, those things probably didn't actually happen on that specific date, but I think it doesn't matter what your denomination is or your religion or atheism or whatever, everybody loves a holiday, a day off, something to celebrate, something to see family and loved ones on. It doesn't matter what you are. A holiday is a holiday, in my opinion. I'll go fuck myself.
What's your favorite holiday, everybody? I love Christmas. I loved it when I was a little kid for the magic of it. I love giving presents. I love that whole aspect of like trying to surprise people, especially like now that you're older and you can afford to give your parents nice stuff. Finally, I love like surprising them with really cool gifts, or my wife or my siblings or whatever. So I love Christmas the most still, for sure.
I was going to say, I can't really narrow it down because I love all fucking holidays. I think they're all perfect in their part of the year. But then I thought about the 4th of July and I was like, that's probably my favorite holiday. Like, I love that time of year. I love the 4th of July, and I love the traditions that we've, done the past 10 or 15 years on the 4th of July.
Yeah, I think 4th of July might take the cake for me too. Like when I was a kid, I mean, yeah, Christmas was freaking great. It was probably equal with 4th of July, but now I think 4th of July is taking that over. And Halloween might have taken over Christmas for me as an adult, just because it's a fun time of year. We get into it and shit. And Thanksgiving. Okay. I do love Thanksgiving though, for known reason.
Yeah, me too.
I like 4th of July. I was gonna say, you kind of stole mine. 4th of July, like, that's my fucking holiday. I love 4th of July, and second is Halloween. And my birthday is also in October, so I love October. Most people love October anyways, but I just love October. So Halloween is definitely my second, and then I don't know, that's not really Christmas. I like the build up to Christmas and stuff, but I don't really the event itself is kind of Okay.
Yeah, I don't think Christmas, unfortunately, is any more special for me than Thanksgiving, which is sad to say. But I like the season. I agree with Pat. I like the snow. I like the fucking tree and the lights and shit and the feeling of Christmas. But the day itself, it's no different than like December 4th now for me.
I actually might put Indigenous Peoples Day over Christmas for me.
Okay, calm down, Glory Blue Earth Highly, if you're listening.
But
Guess what? She isn't.
We're gonna start off our final segment here, the New Year's segment. This should be a lot of fun. My final wraparound though on the pagan origins is yeah, I agree, Kelly, what you were saying, that everybody wants to have like a celebration. Everybody likes holidays, regardless of what your religion is. Everybody likes to enjoy them, birthdays, all that stuff. A lot of like it's kind of interesting, the battle versus good versus evil. I don't want to open a huge can of worms or always have to round the horses back to witchcraft, but the pagans had a lot of stuff going on, and a lot of things that Christians tried to do or did successfully do over time was not, when you're trying to introduce new beliefs to people, this is a really good strategy too, not just wipe out everybody else's beliefs and just say hell with it, but kind of take someone's idea, concept, and come in and add your own adjustment to it to form something else, and then demonize the people that you actually copied. That's like a pretty typical strategy in like human nature, and that's why a lot of like things that like with witchcraft that get demonized is because pagans were ones that practiced that, and then Catholicism came along, and like I said yet last week, Haiti doesn't even see a difference between voodoo and Christianity, but it's kind of an interesting back and forth or whatnot between all that stuff, because it's really fucking interesting. But yeah, at the end of the day, everybody wants to celebrate a good holiday, have a lot of fun. So with that said, this final segment, just a second, someone, this attorney in Sydney, Montana, starting to send me some messages.
Read them.
I'm gonna do I'll call this the Prison City Podcast Year in Review. And basically what I did is I took 12 photos from my phone. So if you're an audio listener, you're pretty much fucked on this. But I put 12 photos from my phone, and I'm just gonna this starts from the very beginning of the year, photos from each month, or maybe every month and a half or something. And this is kind of my favorite photos of the year. So let's do this, guys. You ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, here's in January, it started out great. I had decided to do a trip to the White House. Had a great visit there. It was a lot of fun. I thought, Halloween was my favorite holiday, so I dressed up like a Viking. and then
Mahoney, you like that one?
I guess I don't know why I would have thought it was going to start any different.
Still gotta count those ballots. Trump's gonna be in office by Christmas, right, Kelly?
I owe a lot of money if he's not.
You sure do.
Taylor Henson out there listening.
So, can anybody guess what this photo is?
I know what it is.
I'll give him a Holland because he's least familiar with it.
Is it, the side of an RV or something?
So this happened back in February, late January. Matt, you know what it is?
Obviously you wrote Your Dame, and the director best film ever for Redgate. Is that on the wall of the Montana bar?
Yes, Kelly. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, behind the shattered mirror.
So what happened is at this point of the year, I was a regular at the Montana bar almost every other night. And one of the nights, it's my year in review. one of the nights, I wasn't there, but one of the girls that gets drunk and gets wild out there that I hang out with every once in a while, there's some argument or something she had with a boyfriend. She took like her fucking drink and threw it at the mirror, this gigantic mirror like any bar has, shattered like almost like half the fucking mirror in the bar, like 33% of it, like completely fucking shattered it. And somehow she didn't get kicked out or 86 from the bar, which is crazy. I guess she paid to have someone reinstalled, but the following weeks they didn't have any windows, so it's just the wall of the bar. So they had people autographing it because they said this can be covered up forever. So I was like, let me autograph this with my name and the Redgate movie, best horror film ever, and then it'll be there for fucking ever. And then someone will uncover that eventually one random day.
Yeah, they're gonna have to uncover it because I can see all the mold coming through the wall there. So someone's gonna have to tear that thing down at some point.
So yeah, that happened in February. My days at the Montana bar were just heating up then.
He's heating up.
No, this guy, the next photo is the nice guy I met at Walmart. So I had him take, no, this is actually Costco, and I had him take a photo in front of the Costco guy, because I thought it would be funny if he took a photo of one of my good friends here. There he is.
Jeez. I think it's my best friend.
Is that one of your best friends too?
Yeah.
He also launched a month later. He ended up launching a boycott against the Cutler Brothers Creep Show. All right, now let's go on to the next photo here. Now, this girl I'm going to show next was one of the media girls that hooked up with the Montana bar. This photo, she was having one of the biggest orgasms she's ever had in her life. And there she is.
Oh,
Yep, we had a lot of fun that night.
So what's that picture from? A show or something?
That's actually comedy night, Christmas comedy night.
Oh, good God.
Yeah.
And she's starring in it again this December.
Check her out if you want to see if she can do the same thing for you. So leading into the Christmas. Sorry, I said Chris. That St. Patrick's Day. Valentine's Day comedy night. So after Valentine's Day comedy night, we had the St. Patrick's Day parade. What happened was Butte was still being a bunch of gigantic fucking pussies and refused to do a St. Patrick's Day parade. They had people go by all the businesses, which is somehow safer, which makes no sense. So we decided to stage the first St. Patrick's Day parade in Deer Lodge on St. Patrick's Day, and then later on we had an improv show that night. And this is Jim Buck leading the parade, and we had fire trucks and everything. It was a really fucking cool thing. Remember that?
Yeah, and I love that fucking picture, man. That's classic now.
Yeah, it's and DL News Network, which we founded. Don't tell anybody, but we founded it, and that was one of the kickoffs as we promoted the St. Patrick's Day parade, first one ever in Deer Lodge, Montana. Really, really cool. A lot of fun, especially for the kids.
Yeah, I think we could build that up too for this next spring season.
Now, if you
want to do it again,
yeah, we should. That'd be that's like I have this idea that was purely my idea of maybe doing like a fun run with beer and you go to the bars. What do you think about that idea, Mahomes?
I got to tell you, like that's pretty cool. Honestly, it could be a really good fundraiser for a local nonprofit if there's any.
Yeah, we were thinking about doing it with Rising Star. Like Pat created it, and I thought it was a good idea, but the president of Rising Star thought it was a shitty idea, and he kept putting the kibosh on it.
Well, you know what, you guys, if you can give me his name and number, I'm happy to reach out.
All right, talk to me after the show.
Okay.
This next one is actually directly related to the Prison City podcast. This is going to bring up some memories, guys. So get the tissues ready. Here's your throwback for Prison City podcast officially starting. First photo.
Oh wow!
Oh wow!
Jeez, how was that already 50 pounds ago for me? Wow! Yeah. And you know what's crazy about that shit? I was upstairs in my fucking bedroom. I remember I did the first 2 or 3 up there before moving downstairs.
Yeah, I see Mahomes because he's been able to blur his background for a while now.
Yeah, not that the first couple times. But that's my old house anyway. So
is that you there, Mahomes, in the red with the curtain behind you?
No. That actually, I'm surprised you don't realize that. That is one of your good friends that's actually in your house.
Yeah, we're great friends, and we don't hang out as much today as 2 months after this. We weren't as good of friends anymore.
Is this the start of the end of the boycott?
This is the start of the Prison City podcast, and took about 2 months for the boycott. Pat Cutler happened exactly 2 months after this.
Hey, Pat, stupid question, but how many episodes are in this first season here? I imagine this is the last one, right?
We're episode 41.
Season 2, people starting in January.
Well, I was going to do season for a year-long thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll go fuck myself then.
No.
Yeah, please do.
No, or we could end the season on this episode and people are like, no, the first year there's only 41 episodes because it started in March. And remember he all those guys got kicked off the show. Remember that? But yeah, that was the good days when we were all having fun, joking around things, and apparently jokes weren't as funny after that.
Yeah, times change, man. People change.
And so leading to that, I like to bring up this thing. I like this photo here. So these were these are the comedians we had for part of that comedy festival during St. Patrick's Day. And they were really cool comedians. The shorter guy opened and the taller guy closed. And I got that shirt, and several people who ended up boycotting me actually either got that shirt or went to this guy and thought he was hilarious and thought his humor and this is hilarious. So I think it was funny that like people like the shirt, you find it offensive, I find it funny, and yet 2 months later they didn't think it was funny anymore.
Yeah.
They were just offended.
Well, now to bring that up, I kind of want to message. This is Derek Richards and Ron Coleman. I kind of want to message Derek Richards because, like, once in a blue moon, he'll message me just, "Hey, how's Deer Lodge going?" Like once every couple of months. So I kind of want to ask him about this William Lee fucking Martin, like see if he knows him, because these two guys were uber cool, and they came into Deer Lodge like 2 days early just to go out with us, to see the town, to learn who we were, put on two kick-ass shows. So I just want to see like if they know them, because the comedy circle is pretty fucking tight, especially if you're a national comedian.
No, yeah, it is. And he's who rejected him on the USO tour recently? Deborah Messing or something like that.
Yeah, Deborah Messing.
Yeah, so she's obviously someone that everybody knows a little bit of. But yeah, that was a fun fucking comedy show they put on. Kelly brought those guys in as part of the comedy festival we did last year, and might be something we do again this year. We'll have to look into.
So speaking of boycotts, Pat, because we were just talking about it. Yeah, Mahoney, isn't that crazy? We're one step away right now from Deborah Messing, who boycotted Derek Richards, who then sent me a text that said, "Can you believe this horse shit?" She called him out by fucking name. I'm like, man, we are on, like, we're in this web in some capacity, you know?
Yeah, it's not even 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon. You're 2 degrees.
So that's interesting.
So yeah, so after this, I don't know if Kelly remembers what happened shortly after this, but you might recognize the main person in this photo.
Nice.
Nice.
The bachelor party. Wow.
Mahomes came up from Nebraska to have a beer in Idaho at the Snake Pit. Is that we're at?
Yeah.
And that is the band. And that night we were pumping. There's a band there. They were playing. We were just yelling, screaming. Oh, that was the first night we got there. You know how crazy that was?
It was. I know. I noticed I have that custom one-of-a-kind prison pizza hat that I'm. Kelly asked for a new logo. I gave it to him and gave him the hat, and I think he's thrown it away since then. So that's cool.
Geez, you did that. He went out and sold the business.
I know. He's like, "Hey, man, that's really cool. I'm glad you spent like probably a lot of time and effort on that. I'm gonna sell the whole place and burn your fucking hat."
I was like, guys, I need to make decisions that I can explain to Mahoney next fall. No, I've only had one bachelor party, but that was a fucking awesome time, and you three were instrumental in planning it. So thank you very much, because that was awesome.
Yeah, you know what? And that's kind of why I got divorced, because I want to have another bachelor party sometime. When you have a second wedding, do they actually do a second bachelor party? Is that a thing?
We
would. Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know what other people do, but we would.
Yeah, so that was a lot of fun. That night, we got super wasted, and yeah. Okay, and talk about wasted. Now we're going on to the another one of my. This is honestly I'm just doing this photo because I laughed so hard at this photo that I took after one of the Prison City podcast episodes. Still one of my favorite photos. His time was ticking down on the Prison City podcast at this moment. His time was running out.
Was that the aliens one?
I think it must have been like the aliens, or me and Matt were talking the other day. It might have been the one with Stuart Jewell on. We were talking.
I think it was the Stuart Jewell one because I remember I was in Mount Vernon, Illinois during this.
Yeah. Oh, when did this happen? Because we had Stuart on. I know we were talking about stuff that he didn't necessarily have like a lot to say on, and he was up and down. And so we had the story is pretty simple. Like, so we used to drink these bottles called Pink Whitney, and they're 35%, which is 70 proof, which is the same as Captain Morgan, but Pink Whitney you can pour straight over ice. So you're basically drinking like straight liquor. And this day he showed up like, I got 2 bottles, and he brought one on the side, and he brought another bottle. So I was like, dude, you sure you want like 2 bottles? Like, that's pretty, like, it's not a very good idea to tell you the truth. And during this podcast, the first 30 minutes or so, he probably downed an entire bottle by himself. And that's the results of that, folks.
Yeah, I remember the end of that podcast. I think it was Mahoney. Was that a fun one with you? Or I know that Stewie and I like were going till the very end, and we were like all into the subject matter, and then like people just one by one kind of fell out of the ring like a Royal Rumble, and Jay Marsh apparently literally fell out of the ring.
Yeah. I shit, that's what you should have done. And there's still time. I got what 10 days till New Year's. It'd be cool. And I might do this if I get bored or whatever. It'd be cool to do a highlight reel of our entire first year of Prison City Box and do one 90-minute episode, just the highlights from our earlier episodes.
Yeah, you should. It wouldn't even have to be 90 minutes. I mean, you could probably put together 20 or 30 minutes of just like blip, blip, blip really fast, just funny shit or interesting shit or whatever. I would love to watch that. I just got to ask though, Mahoney, your episode that you want everyone to forget about, it wasn't the night that J Marsh did that, right? That had to be a different night.
No.
Okay.
So here
Thanks for
we
bringing
go.
that back up though, Cal.
I think that was. I had joined the podcast.
That was Albert, our brother. He fucking hosted that one.
Oh, Albert was on there. That's right. He was on there.
Yeah. That's
one. No, that's I've had that one. I reported that one to YouTube and it's deleted.
So this photo is a remnants of the boycott officially started here, and unfortunately people that were on there's a lot of people that are on our podcast that ended up boycotting the podcast because of a Snapchat joke I sent that was just a joke. It was I thought it was pretty funny. I still think it's funny today, but they did not and launched a boycott against me and boycotted the podcast. Literally boycotted the podcast, which is still insane to this day. But anyways, this real story behind this photo is so we did Glenn Ross the play, and this is a matinee, and this girl Jen, she just showed me some random photo, and you see my son is actually in the background of this photo. And when you have kids, like, you really feel this, like I never would ever go up and talk shit to somebody else's kids or anything at all, especially if your kid's having a problem. So when your kid's having a problem where it gets worse and worse. And basically this day, my son, he's up and down sometimes, and he just was having a bad time after the show and brought him to a restaurant eating, he's throwing a fit or whatever. And like this lady's like almost like talking shit to me and my son and all the stuff. And eventually I eventually just got up to say, okay, I'm taking him out of here. I just won't eat wherever I took him. And then she starts clapping. It's like, thank you. I turn around. I was like, fuck you stupid fucking bitch. Like, I was so
that
pissed.
Was the night you found out about the boycott shit too?
No, this is actually a month later. I just thought that was fun to throw in.
Oh. Oh, okay.
But yeah, I like that photo though, because it kind of brought back me telling some lady to go fuck herself and calling her a bitch at a restaurant. I'm very fond of that memory.
Yeah, sure. Why wouldn't you be?
Lesson, folks out there, don't fuck with other people's kids. But this one, moving on.
Say, do we know who it is, or
the lady?
Yeah,
I know who it was.
Who?
Oh, okay.
Or should you say it?
Even if I said the name, I don't think you'd know who she is, but she's heavy in like the Draft Horse Expo and shit. And we've talked to her a few times because she always wants us to serve alcohol down at the Blue Ribbon Pavilion.
I think you told me about that, but it's like, I don't even fucking know you. Why are you talking shit to my kid? It's like, it's so like annoying. Like, And I don't know, moving on to the next photo. All right, here we go. Everyone's loved this photo.
Bobby.
Jesus.
He went from being one of the top roles in all our plays this past year to now he's going to prison, right, folks?
I don't think he's going to prison. I think he's just sitting in jail until. Actually, I think he's getting out like probably fucking next week or the week after.
Well, I hope he's doing okay or whatever. But that was just a cool photo we had from Glengarry Glen Ross, my first play I ever directed, and he was one of the iconic characters in that every night, and it's just a funny photo. See, Mahomes does not like the slideshow, or is he going to bed?
Bobby did a good job. He did a good job, actually.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah.
Just too bad.
Just too bad what happened.
Well,
So is Mahomes coming back to this podcast, or here?
Yes,
This is the final photo here, and it's just obviously you can do tons of photos. This is the final one. I think this is just a funny, iconic photo to look at.
Jeez. Oh wow.
oh wow. The irony.
The irony.
So much deep meaning there.
I know he actually came on our podcast, and we were going to do the Doster Comedy Show with him, and he actually was like, thought the boycott of me was like so stupid that he got like a t-shirt, and I gave him everything. Then later on, a couple months later, he ends up freaking out on me and our comedy group over a disagreement of some stuff he was supposed to do for a comedy group, and he basically just went from having a boycott Pat Cutler t-shirt to actually boycotting me. And and we'll just say after that happened, he defriended all of us on Facebook.
Hey, well, Pat, I gotta say, he used to wear that shirt because it was a joke. Now he wears it because he means it.
Yeah, so those are my memories. And I'm going to go to one last memory here, guys, that really brings things full circle here. I'm going to share my screen here and make sure my audio is fully up here. Listen in. This is the final memory that sums everything up for me this year. Enjoy
land acknowledgement, or we're looking for something that really engages in thinking about how to avoid our dead white men.
Oh, shit. But I'll tell you what, man, you put together a highlight reel of however long it is. I'd love to fucking watch it because with 41 episodes or whatever, there's a lot of shit in there that I think could be entertaining as fuck, you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I think so for sure. And that's something I might actually do. I might just cherry pick a couple episodes that I think are funny. I go back to smart. There's a lot of funniest moments where people were drunk.
Yeah, if we could not have any of that episode in, I'd really appreciate it. And if we do have that episode in, just know that I'm officially gonna start wearing my boycott Pat Cutler shirt unironically, and I will never be on the show again.
Hey, Mahoney, show your entire episode that you don't want people to see, or show the 6 minutes that we cut out of an episode like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yikes.
Come on, don't be selfish now.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It is selfish because I didn't say any of the heinous shit that came out. So that would be the selfish thing. I would say, perfect world. Somehow the tapes get lost in the fire of both episodes, and we never have to worry about it.
Yeah, I think it sucks that we're all traveling here during Christmas and stuff. Is that a year-end episode of a New Year's in review would be a fucking badass episode. There's a lot of stuff you could throw in that year-end episode. It'd be a lot of fucking fun. Maybe we'll start that out as we roast William Lee Hart there to start our next episode. But I might think about doing a year in review, start out 2022. But without further ado, let's get to the very end of New Year's resolutions. What you're thankful for, and looking back on like 2021. Looking back, do you have like a favorite memory? What do you think about this past year? We'll just start with Kelly, and we'll do a couple around that. Well, this is the start of the rounding the horses here. We're gonna round a couple horses and a couple rounds.
I was gonna say I could kind of feel the horses starting to turn, so we must be rounding.
Yeah, but this is the start of rounding the horses, I will say, and I'll give you one last horsey shout that at the end. So, start out this final segment with that. Kelly, what do you have to say?
I thought 2021 was fucking awesome. I mean, we got COVID was dying down, and we got our theater back on the rails with a bunch of great shows, and Footloose was very well attended. Now we're doing Home Alone. Well, the fucking Creep Show as well doubled in attendance, and now we're doing Home Alone, and it's going really well so far. We got a whole nother week. Well, no, we don't have a weekend. I thought we were doing one after Christmas, but we're not. So anyways, it went well. The final attendance was 950 people. I have to mention that I got married this year. So that was awesome. Our honeymoon was awesome. The trip down, seeing the beautiful countryside all the way down to Florida was amazing. And I did these videos this year called the 2021 resolution videos, and not many people watched them. That wasn't the point. The point was for me, where I made some resolutions, and I did not necessarily stick to all of them, but I definitely adapted as I went, and I made new resolutions, and I did achieve a lot of goals this year, which was awesome. But next year, I think I'm going to double down and make those goals even bigger, because we're only getting older and time's getting shorter, and let's fucking make our dreams happen now.
Yes. And Mahomes.
Sure. So I'll start with my favorite memory, because it's it definitely piggybacks off of Kelly's. My favorite memory was your wedding this year. That was a lot of fun. It was the first time my whole family had been back in Deer Lodge since my folks retired. So that was really cool to be back there. We took family photos out in front of Mount Powell. The wedding was a ton of fun. It was a great time. So that was, and just all the stuff leading up to the bachelor party, like Matt talked about, that we planned, and kind of all the different surprises we had for Kelly along the way, I think that was just a ton of fun. So I'm thankful for that opportunity. All the classic corny stuff, like a healthy, happy family, got great friends, good job, all that good stuff. I think the resolution, one that I started out good on and didn't do as well, was I kind of I said I wanted to be on social media less, and I'm on it less, but I'm on the Instagram now. You can go and you can get lost in all these different sports things that you follow, and I'm just it's just time waster. It's just a time suck. So I'm gonna set every day. I'm gonna set a thing on my phone for 1 hour. I get 1 hour social media a day. As soon as that thing is done, it won't let you open. You can set that on your iPhone if anyone's listening. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to stick to it. Because you could do it and then just hit ignore, and then you can keep looking at it. But as soon as it pops up, I'm done. And then I just need to focus on more important shit and get my head out of my phone. So that's my biggest resolution.
And Matt.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, does that work on all websites, Mahoney? Damn it! I need more time.
I don't know that I would call Pornhub a social media, but
yeah, sorry, I just had to throw that out there.
I guess you can share your favorite clip on social media, so who knows?
Yeah, fuck. Yeah, so I'm gonna start at kind of backwards, I guess. Yeah, New Year's resolution, I guess, as much as it sounds cliche and as hard it is to do, is just live in the present moment, because I think here, especially us in Deer Lodge, doing our theater and everything, it kind of comes in stages where you're doing the Creep Show, then you're doing the summer season, then you got the holiday shows and common nights along the way, not in that order, obviously, but it kind of comes in stages. And some of the times you're so worked up, oh my God, I got this to do, this many shows, I got this work to do, these rehearsals. I guess one of my New Year's resolutions is just enjoy the process. We've been doing it forever, but it's if you don't enjoy it, 1 year is just going to mesh into the next. And that's kind of my thinking going into the new year. Just enjoy the stages, because that's how it is.
Yeah, I agree with that, man. In the sense that I was talking about this with Kelly earlier, is you really got to focus on the present. And this is one of the analogies I was making was that there was like this meditation type self-development speaker or whatever I was listening to earlier today. Said everybody in life, they have like 3 different like roads they look at every single day. And the road to your left is the past, the road to your right is the future, and the road in the middle is the present. And when people look to the road to the past, they can see the road's been traveled on a ton and it's beat up and everything. People look at the road to the future, it's been traveled on a bunk, because people focus so much on the past and so much on the future. But then when most people look at the road in the present, it's hardly been touched, because very few people are able to focus on the present moment, which is, and social media has kind of enhanced that thing pretty bad. But yeah, so that's kind of a good point. I would say for me, I mean, it's been a whirlwind. I would say the last 2 years, it's been pretty crazy. This past year, it's been pretty nuts, up and down. I would say, the first 8 months back in Deer Lodge was a lot of fun, but it's probably not the easiest place to be when you're kind of in between a divorce and all these different things. And definitely, I'd say like last year's probably been the hardest for me. But I would say the last 3 months, especially, I can't lie, since the boycott Pat Cutler movement started, it's felt like it's really revitalized my life. I have not felt better since then, but since I went out in Pittsburgh in September, and you talk about finishing a year off, because everybody wants to do a resolution, you want to finish it out great and everything else. The last 3 months, I've completely and absolutely stopped drinking. I'll probably never drink again. I've lost over 35 pounds, and I'm in the best shape of my fucking life I've ever been in, and I cannot wait to see what happens in 2022, because it's only going to get fucking better.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's great, man. It's tough to hear that you'll never be able to come to JB's again, but like it's great.
Yeah.
Well, and Pat, I just got to say that since you haven't drank, in 3 months, you've become such less of an asshole, man. So I appreciate that.
That's not what Jim Cameron says.
Oh, fuck Jim Cameron.
It used to be fun before you drink. No, you're an asshole. And the weird thing is, you don't have to get massively drunk to get laid in Deer Lodge. You just find somebody who's massively drunk.
Yeah, but bottom line, that shit don't matter though. If someone's like, I'm not drinking, I'm drinking, I'm not smoking, I'm smoking, I'm chewing, not chewing, really doesn't fucking.
If you do it for
it doesn't change my perception of someone. I was like, okay, that's cool, whatever.
Well, I would say,
unless you're a complete piece of shit.
I would say like this. Yeah. I say like this also though. And I think Kelly says when you're not drinking, it seems like the people that do drink are always like drunk or whatever. I say,
we are.
It's a good reason.
I don't actually notice that at all, unless you're at like a Montana bar level drunk people. You really don't. Me personally, I really don't fucking notice. Like right. I joke around the same as I did when I was drinking. Like unless you're like super wasted and with vodka and stuff, you get super wasted and you can come up with ideas and just really get fucking funny and shit.
Yeah.
But
yeah, and I think, Pat, you're a inspiration, man, for like not drinking for so long. It's fucking like pretty amazing, because like I kind of want to be in that situation where like you said the other night, it's mind over fucking matter. It's not just about drinking, it's about anything. You say, oh man, oh well, I'm this weight, I'm gonna be this weight the rest of my life, or I'm gonna get drunk, because that's just what I do. No, you could change your fucking reality in one day. And that's why I quantum leaped this morning, and I'm a completely different person. Please call me Kyle.
That's good, Kyle.
I really did. Like this morning, I'm like, I'm going to take a quantum jump after that episode. I've known about this for a long time, not just because of the inspiration from the episode, but I said, you know what? It's time to do certain things. And I made 2 big decisions this morning. I'm not going to share them, because usually when you share stuff, you go back and you fuck up, and then everyone just doesn't believe you next time you say something like that. But I made 2 big decisions, and day 1 in the books, and I feel 1,000 times better right now, and tomorrow I'll even feel better. It's just that's how habits are. Like good habits treat you very nicely. So congratulations, Pat, is what I got to say.
And the other part is I really like the book 48 Laws of Power. Everybody should read that book. And one of the laws in that is like you're just mentioning, they're not telling people your plans. A lot of times, honestly, like for me going forward, like I know we got a lot of things on deck, not telling people my actual plans, because let's just be honest here. I had I had plans of running like a business and all these different things. And then like, my plan was to go see my kids over spring break. And then like a month, I'm filming Jesus Christ Superstar in the field. And 2 months later, I'm flying in the back of a van at the 2020 senior so when I sat down to visualize, there was no visualization that was my actual plan. So it's like going forward into 2022, I think I'm keeping my plans really to myself as much as possible, because it's like, do not want any influence or anything at all impacting what's going to come down the pipe, because when those witchcraft spells finally hit, folks, yes, the vodka will return.
Yeah, honestly, man, don't say shit, because I've done that. You know, we talked about it the last podcast. We don't got to go into it, but I've said like, this year I'm going to lose 30 pounds. Like, I'm going to do it. And in my head, I'm like, I'm going to do it. And then I didn't do it. And then you got people that come up to you like at the theater and shit, and they're like, how's the weight loss going? And just jokes like that. And then it just like knocks you down further. It's like, I didn't achieve my goal, but now everybody else knows that I didn't achieve my goal. That's just one example. Keep that shit near and dear to your heart, because it doesn't really fucking matter. You're not out here to impress anybody but yourself.
Especially if you have like a lower mind, so you're in a terrible time, you're drinking all the time or something, people can easily influence your fucking thoughts and everything so fucking easily.
Right.
I mean, you find ways to isolate yourself and do things like meditations or whatever, and But anyways, looks like Matt's phone cut off. My last announcement this episode is I'm gonna look one of my goals for this isn't really a goal, it's just actually what I'm gonna do is look for a way to kind of restructure the Prison City podcast format. And I'm not sure what I'm gonna look at, but it just seems, in some sense, it seems like it's just more of a video type podcast. It's not really, I don't want to say you can never do audio, but it just seems like a lot of episodes like really fucking need like the video there to see some of the shit that's going on and stuff. Is just, to me, I don't know, how was it driving, listen to audio?
Well, those episodes were great, but keep in mind that was like our first 5 episodes, so we didn't have a lot of the clips that you're throwing up nowadays,
Yeah. And the other thing I'm looking at is moving it to more video platforms, like streaming it on Facebook the same night I stream it on YouTube, stuff like that, to get more views or just something more interactive. But anyways, I'm gonna look at formatting something here in the New Year's just to kind of change things up as we move along. But it's been a great 41 episodes in 2021, and I look forward to I'm coming back, and I'm hoping I can do a New Year's show, cut together enough clips and put together a New Year's program, and just maybe 15-20 minute clips. And then it would be cool to come back January 5th or whatever I think we're targeting, maybe, and do a year in review episode and just review the previous year, because even though it's after New Year's, it'd still be cool to do a year in review, because I think that'd be a lot of fucking fun. So anyways, guys, I think that ended up around the horses, unless anyone has another horse to holler at.
No, I feel like my horses are almost to bed at this point.
All right, cool. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to just finish by wishing everybody a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year's. Hope everybody has a great fucking finish to their year here this final week. Great Christmas, great holidays, and set those resolutions for next year. Just don't tell anybody. Right, everybody?
Exactly.
All right, stay safe, everybody.